Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. I just finished my last video. I wanted to do a video on, it's about how people respond to other people. So it's kind of in line of the last one. Courtesy, generosity, the Good Samaritan kind of stuff. All of that put together is what kind of culture, what kind of people are we, and what can we better about ourselves? I'm always trying to better myself, at least in skill sets or in my ability to respond to different things, or making these videos, it helps me get my thoughts out. So it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a meditative thing, but it's definitely some kind of a nice contemplative, it doesn't stay in my head anymore. It's out. I'm able to think about it in a more 3D kind of thing, and I can get responses to it. And I like it. I like doing this. I consider it a therapeutic. That's a therapeutic kind of thing. So, how does this relate to all the things I just said, which is courtesy, generosity, and Good Samaritan? I'm looking at my list of stuff that I have. All those were going to be different videos, but they're so similar that, okay, when courtesy is giving people the benefit of the doubt, giving people a helping hand when you think they need it, holding a door open for somebody or whatever. On its own, just basically, a courtesy is just a nod towards the respect you have for a fellow person. That's really what a courtesy is. It doesn't have to have any ulterior motives. It doesn't have to have any basis in bigotry or sexism. I don't consider holding a door open for a woman different than holding a door open for a man. I don't really see it as a they need help, or they need a man to do anything for that. I don't see it as that. I honestly don't. I mean, if people see it that way, then there's a discussion there. I don't dismiss it, but that's not how I see it personally. So when I do something like that, I don't have that attachment to it. It's just I see somebody, it feels like it would be uncourteous or kind of like apathetic to not hold the door open for somebody behind me or who's about to go through the door or whatever. It's like, I got to get in there first, and then I have my own things to do. But if I'm in a hurry, I'll probably just run out, and I don't think people would worry too much about, he's obviously in a hurry. Why didn't he, he should have stopped and held the door open for me because I'm important or whatever. I don't think people would have that mentality. And if they do, I'm in a hurry anyway. I don't think it'll have a lasting impression, so I don't really worry too much about it. The other one, courtesy, as I said, is a nod towards, the respect you have for your fellow person. Generosity is a step further than that. Generosity is like, what you do is you have an empathy. You have this not oneness necessarily, but it's a step towards they might need something, so I'm going to actively do something as opposed to passively. Generosity is like the active version of courtesy. It's like, okay, there's somebody struggling with their bags. I'm going to go over there and help them. Or there's a person on the corner that needs food or something, so I give them food. It's something that detracts from you, like be it time, energy, money, whatever, resources, and is given to somebody else. So when I say detract, I just mean that it costs something. Courtesy doesn't necessarily cost anything. It maybe a few seconds, or maybe something like that. But it's not an active thing. It's more like, this is a nice thing to do. Generosity it's more about selflessness. It's more about you're going beyond what you have to do. Like what would be the normal respect given to another, it's actually the step beyond that. So I know I'm repeating myself, but that's the way I see it. That's the way I try to differentiate the two, is like, okay, I don't have to do this, but I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And that would be a generous factor. If I should do it, then it's a courteous factor. So those are the two different things. And then the Good Samaritan it's pretty much both of those things. A Good Samaritan, you cannot force somebody to do something that doesn't go on the lines of the Good Samaritan law. It's if you see somebody choking and you are, you know how to give the Heimlich maneuver, but you don't do it, then you're not being a Good Samaritan. It's that kind of thing. It's something. It's a larger call. It's more broad than courtesy, but it's also it's along the same lines. So it's, if you are capable of helping, or if you have the power to help, you are obligated to help. But if it puts yourself in danger, or if it goes beyond that, then you are not obligated to do it. The Good Samaritan law, I believe, was made because there was a woman in an apartment complex, and I believe this is accurate. She was being raped and murdered for somewhere. It was an extended period of time, and she was screaming for help the entire time. This is a horrible, horrible thing. And no one in the apartment building, everyone in the apartment building heard it. Like, most of the people were actively knew what was happening, and they did nothing about it. Now, some argued that they should have gone to her aid. The Good Samaritan law doesn't say you have to go to their aid. The Good Samaritan law was, if you have a phone, call the police, because no one called the police. That was the issue. That is, it puts yourself in no danger. It takes nothing from you. It does not detract from you. It's more than a courtesy. This is more than that. It's an extension of it. But it is still something that goes along the lines of you don't lose anything from helping. You don't put yourself in any negative situation by helping, and that's what it means. So the Good Samaritan law is more than courtesy. Generosity, it goes on a different line than generosity, because generosity is giving. So there's different levels to all of these things, and I think that it's a very interesting and it's a very good thing to have at least some of this in your life somewhere. And I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying that you have to give something that you earned, or dedicate your time to others. I just think it's a good thing to do. I'm not saying it's something you have to do. So my video, it's about the qualities of life, about the things that I value, the things that I think are something that give me a purpose, that give me happiness, that gives me something that I can look back on and I can say, you know what, that was really, really nice. And whether it was for me or somebody else doing it for somebody else, I don't have to be involved at all. I could look at things that are good, and I could say those are good. And I'm like, this is really awesome. I like this. And it gives, how people say, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. There's faith in humanity lost or faith in humanity restored. These are the kinds of, it's like the most basic kind of, were they going along the lines of humanity, or were they going above it, or were they going below it? Things like they're memes. It's the professor from Futurama meme. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. It's from a human doing something that's deplorable, or doing something that's below what they should be doing. It's like so and so person, destroys so and so's life for no reason. It's that kind of stuff. Or it was something really ignorant, or it was something really unfair, or stuff like that. Then you say, well, okay, humanity's lost. We don't deserve the good things that we have. And then there's the other ones, which faith in humanity restored, which is like local policeman donates all of his furniture to the less fortunate, stuff like that. Oh, he went above and beyond. He was generous. He was kind. He was giving. He was more than just courteous. He was generous. So and so, you see it as I was saying so and so because I was going to give another example, but it's the same line. People that die in the military, they gave their lives. It's not generally seen as more because it was their job, but I would consider it it's still a sacrifice. So it's an act above and beyond what they had to do, but also it's both. They valued human life to the extent of dying for it, or in some cases they might be crazy, but again, I've known people that they want to kill people, so they try to join the military. I'm not saying anything about the military. I'm saying that I've met people that were actively that way, and so I try to take the acts as in a positive note, because I don't want to push that onto people. Just because I know somebody that does that doesn't mean that it's the norm or that it makes it right or wrong. I do find that wars are horrible things, though I also know that there are horrible people that will not stop unless somebody actively tries to stop them, because I've met people that are like that as well. So the good things about humanity, there is a balance. There are horrible, horrible people in the world, and being generous to them, being courteous to them, they still deserve human respect, the respect that all humans deserve, but they won't appreciate any kind of generosity. They will take it, but they won't really care. And then there's people in the world that would kill you. There are people in the world that would hurt you, and that's happened to me. People have hurt me in the past, and I try not to let that taint my viewpoints. So I know the worst kind of people in the world. I've met murderers. I've met people that have raped others. I've met people that are unapologetic towards it. I've met people that are apologetic towards it. We all have the mentality. We all have the ability to be the worst kind of people or the best kind of people. And when I look at the military, or when I look at, people that are in jail, or I look at people that are they're in positions of authority, I look at each of them individually, or I try to anyway. I see them as human, and I see them as they can make mistakes, they can be good or bad. Every single one of them, I don't put them in a group, or at least I try not to. So when I say people in the military, or I say people in government, or I say people in churches or whatever, I don't mean to generalize. I mean to say this is my understanding of the group, or this is my understanding of people within the group. Because as a group, you can have a promoting factor, or a mission, or anything like that. So I'm trying not to make this about any of that. But when you have somebody that's willing to die for a cause, that cause can be good, the cause can be bad. Their reason behind following the course or whatever it is individual, and I will respect what I understand about it as a sacrifice. That either way, it's a sacrifice in some fashion, especially when they're harmed in doing it. Because just taking your time is a sacrifice. So I try to respect people, and I try to understand where they're coming from, and I try to understand why they're doing things, because everyone has their own reasons. Everybody has their own life, and sometimes I agree or disagree very strongly with what they're doing. Sometimes I don't understand because I can't understand. There are certain situations which I have no understanding of, and I try to learn. I try to understand a lot, but there are certain things that are outside of my field of experience, my field of understanding, and I may never understand certain things. And in some ways that's good. In some ways that's really bad, because I want to be able to empathize more with people that are having problems. And sometimes those problems are just too great for me to handle, and I can't. So I do try to go above and beyond just the level of a good Samaritan. I really do, and I don't succeed all the time. So I like it when I respect people that have the ability to do that, to have the ability to empathize with the world, and to see them as equals, everyone in the world as equals, and who has a right to be treated fairly, and who has a right to be understood or listened to at least a little bit. So I see that as a good thing. That's my belief. I see that as a good thing, and I didn't mean to get political for a second. It was just a comment that I made that I wanted to clarify. I don't like leaving things lingering like that. I made a comment about the military, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to clarify that, so I apologize. I could have made that into a whole other video. So I might do that, I might not. I really should add that, actually. I think I have it on my list. So yeah, my next video will be on another topic. I'll make it right after this one. And then I'll probably take a break, because it's emotionally draining for me to make these, and I'm going to get something to eat. I haven't eaten yet today, and I'm going to try to make a video that is good and maybe have more energy. This one's kind of a little bit more low, because it's not something that I'm like raw about. I'm not like angry about it. This is more of a calm kind of thing. So my emotion is how I try to present things like as I feel them, because otherwise it feels dishonest, disingenuous. When I'm honestly outraged, or when I'm honestly angry about something, I'll have much more. But for this, it's just more of I'm explaining how I feel. It's more of a mellow kind of thing. So if it's not as energetic, I apologize. But it's just I'm trying to be honest with how I feel about things, and I don't mind. I don't mind, but I'm sorry if it's not if it's not to your liking. So that's really all I wanted to say about this. I said a little bit more than I actually wanted to say, but because I got into the other topic, but. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was something that that was informative, or that you thought about and that, you know, made you feel good or anything like that. I don't know what I want from this video. I just wanted to tell you guys about this. I made it on my list. I wanted to talk about it, and I'm really actively trying to make more, even if it's not the best. So I think I've succeeded at least a little bit. I made it. Yay. So I hope to see you in the next video, I guess. And peace.